Medical coding for closures can be difficult, and it's one of those things that they like to throw in to trick you in all kinds of questions for the CPC exam. So I put together a few slides, and today let's go over coding for closures. By the way, if you're new here, hey, I'm Victoria. I'm a medical coder, auditor, educator, and content creator with over 15 years experience in the medical billing and coding field. And on my channel, you can find all kinds of tips, tricks, and tutorials to help you be successful in a medical coding career through all stages of your career. Whether you are deciding if medical coding is right for you, if you are preparing for your CPC exam, you need help with your training, you need help with your career afterwards, I cover the whole gamut. And I love all things skin and integumentary coding. And today I'm going to be covering closures. Now, closures in particular are a little tricky because there are certain things you can or cannot add. They're based off of location and size. And there might be a little bit of math involved, just some basic addition. This presentation is designed to be more of the beginner and intermediate levels of closure. There are some more complicated things we can go over with closures when it comes to relationships to other procedures. But we want to start here. What are the different types of closures? We have three main types of closures. And when I say closures, I'm talking about closures in our integumentary system where we have a patient that maybe has a laceration or a wound, and we're doing different types of sutures or methods of closing it. Now, there's advanced methods of closing certain wounds, things like skin grafts or adjacent tissue transfers. We're focusing mostly here on closures. So we have simple, intermediate, and complex closures. Simple is really more of our one layer closure. It's just kind of a shallow, maybe laceration, and we can close it in one layer. This also includes, and let me show you in the book. So in the AMA edition of the CPT manual, you might not have these definitions in other certain manuals, or you might have different variants of these definitions depending on your book type. But we have here the simple repair under our repair closure and our definitions of what they are. And you can highlight this information. It is pertinent. Simple repair is when it is just a one layer closure. This includes things like steri strips. It does include things like Band-Aids, also includes adhesives like Dermabond. Also worth mentioning when it comes to simple closures, oftentimes we do closure in relationship to a lesion. So we're taking out a lesion and then we have to close it. Now, worth highlighting in your book is that it says about in relationship to benign lesions that excision is defined as full thickness, so through the dermis, removal of a lesion, including margins, and includes simple non-layered closures when performed. When we think about doing complex medical procedures, even surgeries, if you open up the patient, you have to close them. That's an inherent part of the procedure, and it's included in the calculation of the reimbursement, and it's included in that whole CPT code. The only time we're going to code separately for closures is if there was some type of unusual closure or a separate location closure. So it stands to reason that if we're removing a lesion, that standard simple one layer closure is going to be included. I'm not going to get too far into skin lesion stuff for this presentation because we're focusing primarily on closures and calculations for that. But just understand that when we are removing lesions, that one layer closure is included. Intermediate and complex closures can be billed out separately. So what is an intermediate and complex closure? So intermediate involves a little more than a simple closure. It could be that it's a layered closure, so we had to close more than one layer of tissue of the skin and the underlying tissue, so maybe the dermis and the dermis. Or it could be a one-layer closure where we are doing extensive cleaning of contaminated wounds. Maybe the patient fell off of their bike and they have a one-layer closure, but there's all kinds of like dirt and gravel in there that needs to be cleaned out. That could be an intermediate closure. When we're looking at provider documentation, we really have to have a substantiation of what the requirements are for that closure. The provider cannot just state in and of itself, it was an intermediate closure, it was a complex closure. We need those details of what made that a complex closure because the criteria for that needs to be met, not just the statement of complex closure. When we come to complex closure, that is used for when we are doing closures that require something more than a layered closure. So it's extensive undermining. We're doing a lot of debridement. There's exposure of deeper structures like the bone or the tendon. Maybe we're doing retention sutures. It's more involved. And you might be thinking to yourself, Victoria, what the heck is undermining, let alone extensive undermining? So for complex closures, it has to meet extensive undermining. And there is a definition of what extensive means in CPT. So extensive undermining means that, well, let's start with undermining. Undermining is when the provider does a sweep underneath the tissues. And I have a visualization for you for this. So hold on one sec. Sometimes it's hard to determine what this is based off of just the pictures. So let's say we have a laceration here and we're closing this up. We're going to do our sutures, but we're doing undermining. Undermining is when they go underneath. So let's say this is really stuck down, right? And we're trying to, maybe it's like spread apart like this. If we try to suture this together, it can create a lot of tension on the skin and then the sutures might pop. So what they'll do is this undermining where they kind of sweep underneath and free up these tissues so that there's less tension when they pull it together to close. So the definition of extensive undermining is when the amount of that sweeping under and loosening goes out as far as that wound is wide. So let's say we have this laceration here and maybe it's pulled apart a little bit. And this is 5 centimeters and it's like 2 centimeters wide. We would need to go in at least 2 centimeters for it to be considered extensive undermining. Now with closures, we can combine certain things. So if we have multiple closures that we're doing that are the same level of complexity as far as simple, intermediate, or complex, and they're in the same anatomical grouping per CPT definition, we can combine that total length of closure into what CPT code we're calculating. So it has to be same complexity, simple, intermediate, or complex, and under that same grouping of the CPT definition. But the groups are not consistent across complexities. For example, intermediate, you can combine the scalp, the axilla, the trunk, and extremities, excluding hands and feet. But complex has one group for trunk and a different CPT grouping for scalp, arms, and legs. So it doesn't all have the same kind of structure to it. Because again, here we see the scalp, axilla, trunk, but then complex has a whole section that's just the trunk. And you'd be wondering yourself, Victoria, this is ridiculous. Like, why are we making all of these different codes for closures based off of length and based off of the location? Well, these CPT codes are equated to complexity levels, which oftentimes then affects reimbursement. Like we tie the RVU, the relative value unit, into what that reimbursement level is. If we're doing an intermediate repair of a 2 centimeter closure on the shoulder, that's a lot different than something that's maybe a 10 centimeter closure on the shoulder. And it's a lot different than something that might be on your cheek or on your scalp, because these are more sensitive tissues. So we want to differentiate like something that's a more sensitive area, that there's more complexity involved. And of course, if we're doing deeper closures, that's going to be more complex as well. So it's really for that differentiation between like, this is a more sensitive area, this is a less sensitive area. So a shoulder might be very similar to a forearm, but a finger is going to be more complex than doing something on your back, that kind of. So if we look here at, for example, the repair intermediate, if we have different closures that are intermediate and they're on anywhere from the scalp, the axilla, the trunk, and or extremities, including hands and feet, we can combine those. So if we have one that's 2 centimeters of the scalp that's intermediate and 5 centimeters of the trunk and 4 centimeters of the leg, we can add all of those together as long as they're from that intermediate type of closure and they're from that same CPT defined grouping. So let's go through a little bit of example. Let's say that we have here all of these different lesions, because when we look at cases for the CPC exam, or when we're just, I used to code a lot of plastic surgery, patients would come out and they'd get multiple lesions removed, or they would have different areas from a trauma or a fall, and they would have all these different laceration repairs. You do see that you're going to see ones from multiple areas with different lengths of closures. And how do we figure out how to add these all together, and what can we add together? So if we're looking at this, Let's start with our first one is 3.5 intermediate repair of the scalp. So let's go to our intermediate repair. Now I'm making it easy for you guys. In this case is we're just going to tell you what the type of closure is. I'm not going to say, oh, it was, we sutured this level of skin and this level of subcutaneous tissue and so forth. Now, 3.5 intermediate repair of the scalp, obviously we can't combine those with those complex repairs. So we can't add it with the number 2 or the number 3. We might be able to add it though with number 4 because that's also the same type of closure. So if we go to our CPT book, let's see if the scalp and the trunk are in the same intermediate repair group. And here we can see they are in the same intermediate repair group. So we have here repair of intermediate wounds, scalp, and also we have trunk. They're in this same grouping, so we can add them together. We have a 3.5 of the scalp and a 5.5 of the trunk. So that would total 9, which means we would use this CPT code 12034. Now, so these two we would be able to add together. What about the other ones? Complex pair of the left arm and right leg. So let's see if complex repairs let us add the arms and the legs together. And here we can see CPT allows us to combine scalp, arms, and or legs. And in this case, we have 5 of the left arm and we have 2 of the right leg, which would be 7. So we would need CPT code that's in the range for 7 centimeters. So that would be this one, 13121. So those could be combined as well. And we'd get the 13121 for those and the 12034 for the intermediate. Now here's a much larger one. So what out of these can we add? I like to kind of just go through, start with the top one and see, is there anything else can we add with these? And then go to the next one. Okay, does this get added on to anything? Does this add up with anything? So if we start up, we have 2 centimeter complex of the scalp, and that can be added with the complex of the legs. So that anatomic grouping for CPT is the one that says scalp, arms, and or legs. So those can be combined. If you're working on cases like this, sometimes it's nice to have different colored highlighters or different colored pens so you can circle or highlight in different colors to differentiate. We're adding these together. We're adding these together. When it comes to the complex of the back, that goes to itself. We can't add the complex of the back with anything. We have the complex of the right cheek. That can't be added with anything, and neither can the intermediate of the left hand because they're all different anatomic groupings or different complexity. So like I said, in complex repairs, the trunk is all one section, and then arms, legs, and scalp is an entirely different section. And then cheek is a much more sensitive area than the back or the trunk. So we have a totally separate area for the cheek. And here we have cheeks, chin, mouth, neck. And then we actually even have different repairs for the eyelids, nose, ears, and lips. And just a side note, there are some separate like genitalia things that do have their own closures. So some of those really sensitive, extremely delicate areas might have something in their own anatomic section separate from these closures. And intermediate, we had the chest. Chest is considered part of the trunk, and that is very separate from the ones that we had of the hand. That's a separate anatomic grouping. So those two could not be combined for lengths. So when we combine the 2.0 and the 3.0 for this category, we would get 13121, repair complex scalps, arms, and or legs, which is 2.6 to 7.5 centimeters. We would have 13101 for this repair of the back, which is included in the trunk. 13131 for this repair of the cheek. 12032 for the repair of the chest. Chest, again, is considered in the trunk. And then for the 4.5 intermediate of the left hand, we would have 12042 repair intermediate between 2.6 to 7.5. Again, you have to be very, very careful with all of the different locations and the different lengths of closure. So that's it for closures. Definitely let me know in the comments below if you want me to cover some more complex case studies. And if you want me to do some things on this level as well, as far as other topics, and if you liked the format, I need your feedback, you guys. I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, share with your coding friends or your students. I will see you guys in the next video. And until then, just keep on coding on.